Hello YouTube, this is Carrie, and tonight this should be an interesting video because I got to meet the lovely, delightful Kat Blaque, who is actually one of my YouTube idols, you might say, and also a very important person to me because she's been commenting on my videos since like the very beginning, so it's like I finally get to meet her, yay! So yeah, just to prove that we did actually meet. Not that you were doubting me, but whatever. So Kat gave a speech at the University of Toledo tonight, which is relatively close to where I live. So trust me, I was not going to miss this opportunity to meet one of my best friends on YouTube. So basically what she was talking about is actually being an activist and talking through the platform that she talks on. And so, you know, there was a general talk, then the university people who run the Unity group had some questions, and they opened the floor to everybody's questions. So here's the question that I asked. Kat, I've seen the sheer volume of hatred that you're targeted by on your Facebook and YouTube pages on a daily basis just for speaking your mind on racism and LGBT rights. I've seen all the mean words and rape threats and death threats and malicious misgenderings and slurs, etc. My question is, how do you maintain your self-confidence and continue to stand up for what you believe in the face of such constant hatred and invalidation, to continue to speak out and be yourself even when it becomes difficult? And the reason I asked this question was twofold. Number one, because it was in an LGBT student union. So I believe that there were probably a lot of allies there who, like, I feel like a lot of advocacy is a bandwagon thing. People get on the bandwagon because it's convenient for them. And so I'm afraid that were public opinion suddenly to shift, all of a sudden the people who used to support us would jump off. So that was one of the reasons why I was asking that question in the first place, is how do you stand up for what you know is right even when it's not popular to do so? And number two, I hate to admit this, but I had a pretty nasty breakdown this afternoon, and it was for all of the usual reasons, which is basically that I just felt like I barely deserved to call myself a woman at all because my skin texture will never be as smooth as cis women's, and I'll never have a bone structure as small as theirs. I'll never be as developed in my boobs and my butt, and my face will always be more angular, my voice will always be deeper, and I just had this complete breakdown about how I'm unlovable and I'll never really be a girl, I'll always just be a freak, yada yada. So the question was for me too, because in her case, the mean voices are external. It's people being mean to her. In my case, the mean voices are internal. They're my own self-critical dialogue trying to invalidate me. So this question was for me too. And here's the answer that she gave, which was a pretty dang big help to me. The answer that she basically said was, first of all, because she gets so many of these negative comments and death threats and all this other bullshit, she's immune to it practically. Basically, it almost makes her laugh because, you know, it's like, really? These people don't have anything better to do than post negative comments? And, you know, it's just, after getting so many of them, it just becomes funny. But the main part of her answer was she has the confidence to continue to speak for what she believes in because she believes in it, because she knows that it's a worthy cause, and that she knows that she is helping people, and that she knows that by her continuing to speak up against racism and for LGBT rights, that she is increasing visibility, she is changing people's notions about it, and she is helping to make the world a better place. And that, to me, I know it wasn't intended to be a personal message, but it spoke to me in that way too. Because the thing is, I realize, by my very existence, I am making a political statement. Because the world tells me that I should not exist in the first place. It tells all trans people that they should not exist in the first place. And that is the main message, is that they're, you know, people would call me he as a way of attacking me. And what they're trying to do isn't to tell me that I'm a freak or anything. They're trying to tell me that my identity does not exist. So, kind of realized I had that mindset a lot back in my Christian studies. A lot of you may not know this about me, but I was actually a Christian education major back in college. And my entire modus operandi in life was basically, it does not matter if I even go into a Christian profession, if I go into ministry, if I go into teaching, if I go into anything. Because as a Christian, your goal in life is to let your light shine before men in such a way that they can see your good works and glorify your Father in heaven. And it kind of clicked in my head, I can do the same thing about being trans. Because by my very existence and everything that I do, and by continuing to exist against a world that is constantly pushing me with negative things, I am changing people's views about trans people just by my existence. Basically, society says that I don't exist. By existing, I challenge society. Society says that trans women can't be pretty. By feeling beautiful and by getting compliments at work, I'm challenging their narrow-minded viewpoints on that. Society says that trans people are unemployable, that, we're doomed to be miserable forever and lonely, and, these are things that are constantly making me hate myself because society is constantly pushing them on me. So the mindset that I can have, instead of letting them hurt me, and instead of it being, I'm unlovable and nobody will appreciate me and I'm just a freak by existing, I can turn it around and say, I am unemployable and nobody will love me. Ha! Look at what my actual life is and take that, because you're wrong. So it's kind of weird, but in a way that helps me, because I'll admit I don't have the most self-confidence. I really don't. It's really hard for me to just go out and live my life in the face of such constant negativity. But I realize that I can challenge that by my very existence instead of worrying that they're right. So I believe that is the new MO that I'm going to have in life. Instead of internalizing what people are telling me and worrying that they're right, I'm going to prove them wrong. That is my big revelation. Thank you so much, Kat, for speaking at the University of Toledo. It was so amazing to finally meet you. Thank you for helping me with my questions and the questions of everybody there. Here's hoping that this time it'll stick. Bye.